So it is an awesome honor to have on our little podcast Dr. Boutros Ghali, 6th Secretary General of the UN. Welcome to the UNPA audio blog, Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you.
Now, I know you're an immensely busy man, so we'll skip the small talk and get straight to the questions. You were Secretary General during a very turbulent period. Looking back today, what was the most challenging part during your time as Secretary General of the United Nations?
I believe that the most challenging part was that it was a new situation. It was the first period after the Cold War, because the relation between the member states of the United Nations during the Cold War are different than the relation of the member states after the Cold War. But the readaptation of the United Nations system to the situation after the Cold War was the most difficult problem, because it was not clear to everybody what ought to be done, that there will be more civil war than international war, then the solution of a civil war is different than the solution of an international confrontation.
And with hindsight, obviously it's very easy looking back, right? But with hindsight, with the information we have today and that you have today, is there something you would have done differently during that period?
I don't know, because, on a theoretical basis, it is very easy to say I would have done it in a different way, because we have 15 years or 20 years of experience. So already our situation will be better than the situation of somebody who is confronted by a problem for the first time of his life.
In your agenda for democracy, you emphasize the connection between national and international democratization. Do you think the energy of the Arab Spring could finally help to push forward the democratization of the UN?
No, because first of all, I disagree with the expression the Arab Spring. Secondly, it is just one part of the world. We have 100, 200 countries, and the Arab countries represent only 5% of the family of nations. This is number one. Number two, we are still at the beginning of this evolution. It is very difficult to give you an opinion. Let us wait at least 1 or 2 years before what will be the result. Will it reinforce the process of democratization, or at the contrary, it will prove that the democratization don't work in certain part of the world? But this will not appear today. We need time. You see, we agree that if you have a disease, it will take you 2 or 3 years to find a solution to overcome the problem of your health. But for a nation, it will take more. So give us time, and then in the next few years, it will be more easy to answer to this question.
Okay, so you're a long-time supporter of the concept of a UN Parliamentary Assembly. Do you think that this idea resonates in the global south and with the Arab world in particular?
No, I don't know if it will have any results, but certainly that this will help. Because as long as we contribute to the internationalization of the problems, as long as we are taking consideration of the problem of globalization, that the national problems of tomorrow, or even certain national problem of today, cannot be solved on a national basis. It must be solved on an international basis. So here is this readaptation is essential if we want to achieve peace and if we want to achieve the democratization of the international relation.
And do you think we're going to get there? Are we on the right path, do you think?
Again, my answer will be we are still at the beginning of a very long road. How many years it take to recognize the sovereignty of the state? How many years it take to create an international organization like the League of Nations? If you read the first books which have been appeared 200 and 300 years ago about the importance of creating an international organization, the League of Nations was created only in 1919. So it will take time.
Secretary General, that's all I had for you. Was there anything else that you wanted to specifically address or tell the listeners to our podcast?
No, I believe that we must pay more attention to international affairs, that I know that the member states are more interested in their internal problem, in their national problem, and this is normal. But if we want to obtain peace at the international level, we must pay more attention to international affairs. We must pay more attention to foreign affairs. And this is the real problem, that certain countries which have the power, which have the capacity, are not very much interested in international affairs or in foreign affairs because they believe, rightly or wrongly, that to solve their internal problem are more important. But I believe that we must pay more attention in our education about the problem of the foreign affairs.
Secretary General, thank you for taking our call. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
And I thank you for your interview. Thank you.